Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. Just happiness all around the world. In Malaysia, we got Johan. In Malaysia, we got Johan. In the West Coast, we got Chuck, a.k.a. JMMA_ all day. In Australia, we got the IQ wrestler, Jacob. Gentlemen, next weekend, pure happiness for what it is.
Pure bliss.
Pure happiness. We got 2 great cards. So we'll start it off. We're going to do a UFC 141 prediction show. And the other half, we're going to do the dream card. And so we're going to start it off with UFC 141. Big card. First fight, Nam Fan versus Jimmy Hates or Hedes. I always mispronounce people's names. My bad. If anybody could correct me, it's all good. Nonetheless, Nam Fan just beat Leonard Garcia, coming off a win from Leonard Garcia, and Jimmy Hates coming off a win after being kind of like a last-minute replacement for Alex Caceres, a.k.a. Bruce Leroy. Who do you think is going to win? Johan?
I don't really have much to say about this fight. I'm just gonna go with Nampan. I mean, he's one of my favorites to watch, and he's been improving a lot so far. I mean, the fight with Garcia was good, so I'm gonna go with Nampan for the win in this fight.
The Asian guy goes with Nampan. The Asian guy goes with Nampan. Chuck, Mr. JMMA_ all day. Am I to assume you're going to go with Nampan as well?
Nah, I'm going to go with Jimmy Hades or Heads by decision. Okay. Just despite what you just said.
IQ wrestler.
I'm going with Nampan here. Yeah.
I'm also going to go with Nampan. If it goes to decision, Jimmy's going to win it because Nampan can't get a decision for the life of him. That's it. Nampan for the win. Second fight, Vladimir Matyushenko versus Alexander Gustafsson. Should be a good fight. Very hard-fought match. I think this fight's actually probably going to be. Actually, come to think about it, I take that back. I think Nate Diaz versus Donald Cerrone is probably going to be fight of the night. But I think this fight's going to be amazing. I think this fight's going to be great. I got Matyushenko to win this. Johan?
Same as well, Matyushenko. I don't know how though, but I think I'm going to probably go with either a second round knockout or probably a decision at best.
Chuck?
I don't know too much about Gustafsson, but I know Vladdy's 4-1 in the UFC, and he's only lost to John Jones. He's just coming off a win. I can't remember his last opponent, but he beat Alexander Ferrer, and his last 2 wins are by KO and technical knockout. And he was looking pretty good in his last couple fights. No shame in losing to John Jones, even in the fashion that he did. I'm going to pick Matyushenko and go old school. TKO.
IQ wrestler?
Jacob?
Vladdy's really solid. He only loses to high-level guys, basically. But Alexander Gustafsson is really good. Like, his range is incredible in the striking, and he really knows how to use it. I think Gustafsson's on his way to being a contender, and he'll get a hard-fought win over Vladdy.
His only loss comes off of Phil Davis. So he's a great fighter. I'm just going with Vladdy. I just said it.
And just a quick fact about Vladimir Matyushenko, he's had a lifelong addiction to Pogs.
Okay.
Just fun fact for you. Fun fact.
Third fight, John Fisher versus Johnny Hendricks. I think this is going to be an interesting fight, mainly because Hendricks has got great wrestling as well. And I think that I think it's going to force Fitch probably to kind of want to stand up with this guy. Fitch is not going to be able to get, in my opinion, grind out a win like he usually does. It's going to make him a little bit uncomfortable, and hopefully this won't be a snooze fest. So, nonetheless, I do think that Fitch is still, whether you like him or not, the top tier fighters. So I'm going to go with Fitch by decision because I can't see him finishing anything. Johan?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Fitch by decision as well. I don't know, man. He's got to finish a fight at least. I mean, like in the last couple of fights, he's been decisioning. He's got to at least finish one fight, but I don't see that happening. So I'm gonna go with Fitch by decision.
Chuck?
Yeah.
His last seven fights are decisions. John Fitch. I'm actually gonna shake it up a bit. You know what? I'm gonna say John Fitch submission. I say he's gonna get a rear naked choke. He'll use his wrestling this time to maybe get a dominant position and finish it. Rear naked choke, John Fitch.
Jacob?
I'm going to go with Hendricks here. I put a little bit of money on him. He was a big underdog, and I think he can do it. Last couple of fights, Fitch has really struggled. He's not finding the takedowns like he used to be able to do. He's been sort of, cage humping.
What are you talking about? He always does that.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's not new.
I know that, but, he hasn't been finding the takedowns. And Hendricks has, really good hands and big power, so I'll pick Hendricks.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
The co-main event, Nate Diaz versus Donald Cerrone. I think it's going to be a war, man.
Yeehaw!
I think it's going to be a brawl and a half. Both guys are good standing up. Both guys, if it goes to the mat, it's going to be really, really interesting as well. I think the big difference between as far as stand-up is I think Diaz is just a little bit wilder, and Cerrone is more precise. And for that reason, I'm going to go with Cerrone by knockout, second round. I'm going to go with the Cowboy. Second round.
I would have to say I'm going to pick Nate Diaz by submission. I think Nate Diaz has got the hands to stand with Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone has looked ever improving in his last fights, and especially in his fights in the UFC. Nate Diaz coming 2 losses and then the win from Gomi. Just destroyed Gomi, man. What can you say about that, really? Just destroyed him, and that fucking submission was dope. Just amazing. I think his jiu-jitsu is on a completely different tier than Donald Cerrone. His striking is maybe a little, at least on the same level, I would have to say. His boxing, he boxes with his brother on a regular basis, and all those guys at Cesar Gracie. So his stand-up is up to standards. I'm gonna pick Nate Diaz submission armbar.
Jacob.
Two of my favorites here. I'm gonna roll with Nate Diaz by decision. This is gonna be a really awesome fight. I pretty much agree with Chuck. I think Nate's jiu-jitsu is better than Cerrone's. Cerrone is a better wrestler though, so it might even out if they hit the ground and Cerrone ends up on top. Standing, I would give a slight edge to Cerrone because, he uses all his weapons. He uses kicks a lot more than Nate does. But I think Nate will squeeze out a decision here.
Johan?
Heart says Cerrone, mind says Diaz. Yeah, like you guys said, both of them have equally good stand-up. Again, like what Jacob said, slight edge to Cowboy Cerrone because he uses his weapons really well. But I think Diaz's boxing is, he's kind of like his brother as well, but I think Nick is a lot better too, but that's just me saying it.
Definitely, though.
It's going to be really tough.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna just go with I'm just gonna go with my heart and say that Cerrone's gonna beat Diaz, probably by knockout in the second round. So I'm gonna have Cerrone pulling for this one.
Yeah.
You're a real asshole, Johan.
Hey, I got the same pick, man. I got the same pick. Listen, I always think
man.
I always think that that precision striking always goes more than power or Wilder, shots. So I think Cerrone, and he's looked good. Cerrone's Cowboys looks good in his last couple of fights, So I think
Definitely. He looks
Cerrone's
ever
going to win.
improving.
I think Cerrone's going to win. And now we go to the real meat and potatoes of this card, man. This is gonna listen to me. If you told me 6 months ago that this would be happening, I would have never believed you. I sat there with this guy, Alistar, for the Strikeforce, after the Strikeforce Grand Prix, the press conference, and we had a conversation where we discussed Brock Lesnar, and Overeem said that, less than a year ago, Reem said, "Hey, if Brock ever wanted to train with me, I have no problem training with him. I'd crush him, blah blah blah." But he said, and this is like a personal conversation, where he says, I never thought we'd actually see the fight. I never thought we'd see Alistair Overeem in the UFC. Not this soon, especially. This is crazy. I tell you why. we're basically. I kind of feel like Brock got the short end of the stick with this fight. I honestly do. And, we talk about Brock Lesnar being, whether it's Nahagi, I'm probably, because both of these guys are my two favorite heavyweights. Brock has a pair to fucking go against Alistair after he just got decimated by Kane. This is, you're talking about Carwin, him not being able to take a punch from Carwin, and him not being able to take a punch from Kane, and basically spinning around. I don't think he's going to have the opportunity, if Alistair lands one flush, to be able to back up and retreat like he has in the past. And for that reason, I think I'm going to pick Reed. But I'll tell you this. I want Brock Lesnar to win. I want him to win to see the reaction from people. I want to see the reaction from people if Brock Lesnar wins, to see if some of these people that hate Brock Lesnar will give him credit. Because I tell you what, if he somehow wins this fight, the MMA world will not only flip, but people are going to have to eat their words. You know what I'm saying? This is such a great fight because there's a slight possibility that if Brock takes Reem down and somehow grinds out a win, lays in praise, this is a 5-round fight, if I'm correct, right? This is going to be so this, Reem has an issue with gassing. There's a possibility he could gas. There's a possibility that Reem will not be able to defend the takedown. And, Lesnar has some really good takedowns, although he kind of does it from like a far distance and you can see it from a mile away. His takedowns are fantastic. I'm going to go with Reem by knockout in the first round. I think it's going to be a quick fight. But my heart and I'm praying that Lesnar wins. I don't know if that's contradictory or not, but I really hope Lesnar wins just to see the reaction from people. Two of my favorite heavyweights. I can't pick between the two as far as who I like more, but I could continue to talk about how much I like these guys, but Reem by knockout, first round. Nonetheless, I hope Brock wins. Johan.
Man, it is going to be a great fight for sure. Lesnar's wrestling is going to help him in this fight. I can't think of any. He doesn't really have good hands. His hands are physically powerful, but he still lacks the techniques. I hope, and I really hope that Lesnar works on his defense, his stand-up defense especially, because Overeem striking is undoubtedly the best in the heavyweight division of probably any MMA promotion out there. And where he the strength that he has over Cain Velasquez is definitely he has more precision in his striking, more techniques. I think the only thing that Velasquez has that Overeem probably doesn't have is takedown defense, I think. But what I know is that Overeem would definitely love to use his guillotine if he gets taken down by Lesnar, and Overeem's got a pretty sick guillotine. And he has submitted guys off his back before, like Mark Hunt back at Dream 5, if I'm not mistaken. So he can grapple with the best of them. Oh, he's guillotine choked James Thompson at Dream 12 as well. So it's going to be a tough fight. If the fight goes to the ground, Lesnar might have to ground and pound him, maybe, lay and pray as well, if I have to say it. But standing up, which the fight will definitely begin anyways, Overeem is going to have the advantage. So I'm going to go with my boy Alistair Overeem, Demolition Man, by knockout in the second round.
Jacob?
Oh, man. At first, I thought, when this was announced, I thought, Brock Lesnar was going to get wrecked. But Alistair Overeem, he's really made some major changes. Leaving Golden Glory and all the trouble with them and this drug testing, and that all adds up come fight time. So now I'm giving Brock a little bit of a chance here. It's very interesting that neither of these guys are the best at taking a punch. Brock definitely does not like to get punched, and Overeem's been he's been wrecked on the feet before. Of course, this was a while ago, many years ago in Pride and such. So it's very interesting in that sense. I think Brock's best chance is to do what he tries to do every fight, and that's bull rush over him straight out the gate, shoot right into the takedown, and try to advance position. Got to be careful because Overeem does have subs, and try and get a TKO here. If Overeem will wilt under punches or gas, later in the fight, having such a big dude like Brock on top of him, we don't know. And Overeem, all he has to do is hit Brock. That's it. That's all he has to do to win. So it's a lot simpler route to a victory for Overeem on paper. But I'm not sure how this will play out. I'm going to go Overeem by submission. I'm going to say submission.
I would have to say this is a crazy fight. When I first heard about it, I was pretty excited for it. Like Jacob said, with all the stuff that's happened with Overeem lately and all the distractions, moving camps, and his mother becoming ill again, I think that the chances for Brock Lesnar to pull a huge upset just keeps climbing the percentages. I would like to see Brock Lesnar win. I'd like to see either of these guys win, to be honest with you. I just want to see a great fight, but I definitely think it's going to be one uber knee, and it's going to be over first round.
It's so interesting that this whole the whole events surrounding Overeem with this. We with the the steroids, and then he said I heard an interview with him saying that he had guys he was training with. Bloodstained Lane says his training at Extreme Couture was pretty bad. Said and then he said he had guys in Holland that were established wrestlers training with them. It's not too far-fetched for Brock to win this fight. I think the events surrounding Reem, I don't think this is Reem's, I don't think he's that comfortable as he has been in other fights, But I think there's a small window of opportunity for Brock to win this fight, and if he does, man, you know, Chuck was just saying it would be a huge upset. I think on the odds, it's pretty much even, which is interesting to me. I don't think a lot of people know who Overeem is, so you know, I still think that.
Let's not forget.
Go ahead, Johan.
Sorry, let's not forget that Lesnar has his troubles. You know, the thing where he's been charged for hunting in Canada and stuff, and you know, coming up from the diverticulitis as well. So it's been taking him about a year for him to recover. So hopefully hopefully he's in the right frame of mind. So it's Overeem as well. I think that's the only concern. Physically, these guys are ready, but mentally, there's a huge question mark looming again above both of those guys' heads.
Yeah, I think more so for Reem. I think more so for Reem. The
Yeah.
Brock thing with the hunting, that's already been dealt with. The diverticulitis, I'd like to see how he comes in on weigh-ins, to see his conditioning, to see how physically he looks. You know, so it's going to be interesting fight. Interesting fight. And